Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Amber, and this is my sacred ministry. Today is Tuesday, May 12th. Tuesday is ruled by Mars. Mars is currently at 25 degrees of Aries in a square to Jupiter at 20 degrees. Also, Lilith has moved to 16 degrees, as we spoke about yesterday, 0 degrees, 16 being the tower. The sun has moved to 21 degrees of Taurus, symbolizing completion. 1221 is 12 being a new perspective, change in perspective, oftentimes associated with a higher perspective. 21 meaning the completion of that, the implementation of that. So, 1221, awakening, completion, and victory. The moon, when I looked at this morning, was at 24 degrees of Pisces, which I have a feeling it's in Aries now. It's made its way to Aries at this point. Which also makes sense. Numerologically, today is a 9-day. And what I received with that was reward and vindication. I also got the number 1133 twice. And in this context, 11 being justice and 33 representing the master teacher archetype, ascended master archetype. In my particular case, most often that means Jesus. Now, this first portion, I wrote down prior to an event that took place this morning. And I say that because everything that happened today was given to me yesterday in preparation. And one of the main messages yesterday was house on the hill, clairvoyance. You will see it coming. That absolutely happened. And regarding that, last night, prior to going to bed, I got a message, an answer to a prayer about a solution to an issue that I'm currently having, a large issue. And I was told that it would be handled and that not to react impulsively out of fear, out of, panic, that I would be receiving. I could feel the message incoming. And I was told, do not react. Mainly because the blessing that is coming, that is going to resolve this situation, is connected to my response. Cool. When I woke up this morning, I had a message waiting for me on my phone. Had I not been given the guidance last night, that would have sent me into a panic, fear, concern. Instead of getting upset at the message, because there were parts of it where information was being relayed that was incorrect, whether intentionally or not. But it was incorrect. It was an assumption that made me less than who I am, which is unfair and unkind and untrue. And again, it may not have been intentional because people are dealing with a lot right now. The grip of darkness that we are currently facing is formidable, which is why we've been talking about purification. So I began my day with sincere compassion for this person, because in actuality, I wanted the same thing that this person wanted. I also want success for this person and for myself. Harmony, balance, flow, things to go smoothly. I'm in agreement with that. And I work for God. My will is fixed with His. Every day that passes, that union is forged more and more. The light of Christ is within me more and more, to the point where I do not have to speak aloud to communicate. with my spiritual team, being my angels, most predominantly at this time, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Christine, that carries the Christ light codes, and Archangel Raphael. I simply have a thought, and it is responded to accurately, as it's been proven, and it is proven on a continuous basis. I receive clarification and guidance immediately in most cases. The title of this episode is Heavenly Father, the devil is coming for me. In a world that worships false gods, I stand with Christ, and the devil must bow to Christ. Amen. I was given just the sentence, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. So I looked that sentence up to get the full verse. Psalm 23, chapter 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, these words, even though I walk through the valley, meaning low ground, vulnerable to attack, the valley of the shadow of death. This is talking about people who are gripped by evil, demonic possession. Okay? They are in darkness. The darkness is over them, leading them to death. I will fear no evil. And also, being a person of light, walking through darkness in a valley, you are very noticeable. They all see you. And even so, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. God is walking with me. And the devil cannot challenge God directly. The devil works in shadows and works off of fear. So then I was told to look at the entire chapter of Psalm 23, verses 1 through 6. This entire chapter is playing out in my life in real time, like I've never experienced before. So, verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So my needs for resources will be granted. I do not need to worry, which has been a resounding message. Yesterday, we received the daily bread. The Lord shall provide daily bread. He may not give you the entire loaf, but He will give you enough for the day. Being led step by step with the Lord's patience and peace, providing daily bread. It is a walk of faith. It is that way on purpose. Verse 2, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Patience and peace. Nothing to fear. He restores my soul. This process of purification that I am going through is a restoration of my vitality in this physical form. On a spiritual level, the restoration of faith and hope, the illumination of the purpose, gives my soul warmth and nourishment. Even though I face these challenges on all fronts, challenges that have become attacks, I am still held. They have not penetrated the shield that is Christ. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. My ministry. It is a path that was chosen for me and then chosen by me. And He is guiding this in every sense of the word. I have tried to do and achieve with my own hands, with my own will. Those efforts have been blocked largely. There's no other explanation for it. Doesn't make any sense. Except that is not God's plan for me. And He is guiding this ship. Once I was able to, and I say able to, surrender. Things started to appear as foretold in real time, before my very eyes. This is manifestation. Manifestation is a co-creation with the universe. Well, the universe is God, okay? Aligning, 1111, proper alignment. Aligning with God, creating with His will and His force, wielded by my will and my force, working through me for His sake. This is something that is ordained by God, literally. Chapter 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, vulnerable and in the dark, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. I have encountered evil recently that created much fear within me. At the very same time, I knew God was with me. I could speak to my own emotion and comfort. In the moment of the imminent threat, I was given guidance and I followed it. Though I was scared, I followed it. And it stopped the attack at the last moment. Verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. These attacks are not successful, will not be successful. And those who seek to harm are going to witness me rise in peace and purpose. It is ordained because I am aligned with God's will. They may try to pull me off that path, but they cannot challenge it directly because it is ordained by God. It is written. Verse 6, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Exactly. I have full chills in my body. Angel number 1010 comes with verse 5. Angel number 1212 comes with verse 6. Now, I did a couple of other videos where I talked about this, but I'm going to speak about it in its entirety now on Mother's Day, on Sunday, God's Day. I was very nearly sexually assaulted, physically assaulted by a man who followed me home from Walgreens down the block. Now, that evening, I recorded a video that I posted before I left the house. Prior to leaving the house, I had a sense of threat. I said a prayer. I asked for protection. On the way to Walgreens, which was my destination, it was beautiful outside. Early evening, was still fully light. The sun was just starting to set in the sky. And the sky was beautiful. The birds were singing. There was a nice breeze. The temperature was very comfortable. It was beautiful. There was a stillness, a peacefulness in the air. And the whole way to Walgreens, I spoke to God in gratitude for this beautiful evening. Grateful for the walk. Grateful that I left the house and I was in witness of Mother Earth on her day as our mother. Grateful for my child and the flowers that he gave me, which were beautiful and they smelled like medicine for my soul. The fragrance comes to me and I get this whiff. This doesn't happen like normally at all. And they have this smell of I'm not really sure all of the flowers in this bouquet. Some of the flowers look like echinacea, which is interesting, which is medicine. And the other ones, there's roses, but there's, several different things. Anyhow, just grateful for the experience. And I'm smelling them now. Flowers are a symbol of peace and beauty. When I got to Walgreens, I grabbed my items. There was a gentleman just inside the door. Seemed nice enough. On my way past, in just a moment's time, he wished me Happy Mother's Day. Nice. Thank you. My heart. I did not sense anything from him that was negative. And clairsentience is my strongest ability. It's been active since birth. It is the clair associated with my destiny point, my north node in Cancer. Feeling. It has only increased until here we are now today. It is very, very strong and very accurate. So like I said, this person seemed harmless, and he was polite, kind. No problem. I purchased my item. I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it was toilet paper. Okay. That's right, because I didn't want to go. I was hesitant to go, but I needed toilet paper. So I went. I said a prayer and I went. As I was leaving, that same gentleman was outside and he stopped me and he began to tell me his story, that he was the victim of a physical assault during which he lost his phone and his wallet, or it was taken. And he was physically beat up. And you could tell that the wounds were recent, within 24 hours, most likely. And he was telling me that he had a paper from the police department with the officer's identification and phone numbers for the different departments, crisis line, etc. And he was telling me that he needed assistance. He needed me, or was wondering if I would call the crisis number because he needed help with somewhere to stay. I guess the place that he, after this crime took place, the place where he was staying was no longer an option. So, but his things were there, his belongings. And for a moment I hesitated, because safety is a very real thing for me, as I'm about to explain. But I was reminded by my angels that this is why I'm here, to assist. Not only is it my purpose, but I have first-hand experience in being in a position where I needed help. And the person that I was asking didn't seem to care, did not seem to hear me. It didn't matter to them. My well-being was not important. So much so that it was almost as if it was my fault that I needed help. Blame blame the victim. I'm not a victim, but that's a saying. You don't blame the victim of a crime. Doing so amplifies the trauma, and that person will not ask for help the next time, which is not a good thing. Trust me, I know. So I said, okay, I called the number. It was to the police department. I relayed the information. The person, I had quite a few questions. The call ended with me being told that, well, I requested that an officer come and assist the man because the person on the line was telling me, well, the shelter is closed and can he call this other number? Can he go to this other place? And I'm like, listen, he doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have a car. Okay? I am calling you because he stopped me on my way out of the store. Once I leave the area, which I'm planning on doing shortly, he will be vulnerable again. So before I hung up the phone, I made sure that the person was in agreement that he was going to send someone. Not just, oh, okay, well, we'll see. No. Your job is to help. So you help. And I'm not going to enforce that on another without doing it myself. Okay. The man was very gracious. And I turned to walk away. There was another homeless person there, or claimed to be. Asked me for money. I told him I don't have any cash, which is the truth. I don't. Which is common for me. I don't really carry cash for this very reason, for safety purposes. And he said, okay, happy Mother's Day. And I said, thank you, God bless you. He said, thank you. And I began to walk home, feeling happy that I gave my time and my effort to this person. Not because I want some kind of award for that, but because I proved to myself my own integrity. It was uncomfortable. I was vulnerable, but I was standing in my purpose, standing on business, demonstrating what I teach others to do. And I was proud of that. As I was leaving the parking lot, another gentleman approached me. As he walked up to me, Immediately, everything in me was on alert and defense. His energy was, first it was a threat, and then it became sadistic. I can thank my experience working at a maximum security forensic facility for the mentally insane, working with men with mental illness who committed very, well, it's a whole range, but there is a group, a percentage, that committed atrocious acts for the enjoyment of it. And they carry an energy that will make your skin crawl for good reason. This person had that energy. And he locked in on me, changed course, and came to walk with me while giving me a continuous, advancement request for my name, my phone number, my address, how long I've been here, where am I going, blah, blah, blah. Constant questions. I was polite and I was firm. It is not a good idea to insult people with this energy. However, my refusal, as polite as it was, enticed him. And he stayed with me down the block for a ways. At a little bit of a distance, about 10 feet. When I turned to walk through the church parking lot to come home, he started to yell sexually vulgar desires/intentions toward me. That very much came across as a threat. Received the message, pepper spray. Got the pepper spray in my hand. Walked to the church. I walked to the church. Skirt around the side. I get the message he's coming around the other side. I'm hoping against it. Everything in me is screaming danger, and I'm terrified. Empty parking lot. I cannot make it home before this person is going to catch up to me. I know this. And so I said a prayer for Archangel Michael to be with me, present. And that, wow, I have full recognition of that in my being with me. As I come around the building, there he is. He's continuing to verbally tell me what he's going to do to me. This person outweighs me. He is a man, so he's guaranteed stronger than I am. I knew I was in trouble, and I had moments to do something. I saw a person standing outside of their house, a house that was directly behind the church, gentleman with his dog. Once I was within earshot of this person, I turned around with the pepper spray in my hand, pointed at him, and I said, "Sir, you need to stop following me." And I said it with a force that surprised even me because I was trembling. And he stopped mid-stride. Nothing I had said prior to that had detoured him in any way. Also, this individual that was standing outside of his house with his dog, his head came up. He locked eyes with me, and there was an understanding that he would take action. He would assist me. He was on alert, and he stepped forward. I turned on my heel and walked very quickly, knowing that this gentleman would watch my back, would prevent this person from following me any further. But I didn't live that far from that spot. Okay. Came home, shut the curtains, and I gathered myself. I did a video. And I held both my absolute panic and feeling unsafe, feeling the need for comfort, for something outside of me to provide safety for me, as it has been in the past, anytime there was a situation. And what happened was that support came from within me. My actions were reinforced to me as correct. The presence of angelic protection was reinforced within me. And in that moment, maybe for the first time in my entire life, I did not have to call anyone. I just sat here with myself. I was then instructed to do a video, like a diary, and to recount the specifics of the situation, which I did. And it actually proved immensely helpful because I did not have to explain it to different people. I could just send them the video and they would have an understanding of what happened. Perfect. Yesterday, the following day, Monday, I did not leave my house. I did not even take the garbage cans to the road because I was feeling the presence of this person, like prowling around, trying to find me. Like a conquest. A challenge for him. Like a hunter. Me being the prey. And through the day, I tried to talk myself out of that. Like, it's fine. He's probably, gone. It's fine. It's going to be fine. So much so that it became dark outside and I still had my curtains open, and I was brought to attention, close your curtains. So I closed the curtains around the house. Okay, fine. Now this morning, we start the day with the message that we already talked about. So I'm already in this space of feeling an attack, even though I've been given the tools to deal with it. I'm actively in faith. At that point, I was in faith. That was when I wrote the beginning of this. When I got the verse, Psalm 23:4, walking through the valley. Okay? And I'm sitting here doing my message for the day. And I happen to look up to see the man walking past my window. I gasped and threw my phone. Felt literal shock in my system. And I just kind of sat there for a moment, completely stunned at the audacity of this person. Not only that, but confirmed to me his state. He was dressed in clean clothes, well kept, neat and tidy. He was walking with his phone at a speed and in a manner that would indicate he had some intention behind it. Does he know that this is my house? I don't know. But I can tell you that I've never seen him before in this neighborhood, and he's walking in the opposite direction that we came on Sunday. So he's in the neighborhood. This was shortly before 10:30 this morning. So in the light of the morning, when you should feel peace, my peace was shattered seeing this person walk by like he belongs here. Immediately, I received the instruction to write down his description. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever forget it. But I did. All of the details. I then called the police. And they came. I explained to the person who answered, and she agreed in the urgency. And so she sent an officer right away. The officer came. I explained the situation. He told me, basically continue to do what I'm already doing, and that he was going to patrol the area and try to find this guy. Okay. I then did a second video. The reason I did the second video is because this individual is a threat to all, not just to me. This individual has a sickness, and he's proven his intention. The next female that he encounters may not be able to respond in the way that I did. So now I am in a place of responsibility to protect the innocent from this person who is a predator. Make no mistake. And to affirm myself. Which I did. I did the video. I saw later on this evening the gentleman that stepped in, sort of, so to speak, the neighbor, walking, and he looked high. He looked like he was under the influence of some serious substances. He no longer looked competent to do anything. And I thought to myself, sad. We have a real epidemic with drugs. Not only because they harm the person using them, but because they open you up to demonic influence. And under that influence, you will do things that will destroy your life and others. Basically, cause as much harm as possible. That's the goal for a demon. Person probably couldn't even defend himself from an attack in that state. And so we come back to the beginning. In a world that worships false gods, I stand with Christ, and the devil must bow to Christ. (12:21) Awakening, completion, and victory. There is a significant lesson being taught. Now, to carry on with our speaking about spiritual significance of organs in the body, there's a reason why I'm speaking about it. Every organ that we have was given to us by angels as a measure, an accomplishment of development, a level of development, until we come to our current form, which is the perfected form. We are divine manifested. Everything about us is intentional. And I'm smelling the flowers again. The human template. Each individual incarnated human obviously is unique, and we've got everything. But the human template is perfected. So now that it is perfected, now we begin to spiritualize ourselves. Every organ that we have carries a spiritual purpose as well as a physical purpose. Anything that manifests physically begins first energetically, spiritually. And it will persist physically until the energetic component is addressed. This is one of the reasons why I left the medical field, because I was only allowed to address the physical component. I was forbidden to go any deeper. To actually facilitate real healing, lasting change. I needed to, as far as the Western medicine model, stay in my lane, because when I went too far, the patient healed too much and they stopped coming back as often and they stopped getting billed, and the doctor stopped making as much money. And that's bad for business. I was literally told that by a doctor. A doctor who took an oath to do no harm. That is harm. That is choosing not to heal you because they want to bleed you of your resources to take for themselves. What? Well, we have an entire medical situation happening where that is the theme. Of course, not all. There are so many amazing medical practitioners that are in integrity, that are doing their very best to assist you in the very best way. So, today we are going to look at the spiritual significance of the stomach, which is a big one for me. The stomach is the organ that is the most affected for me. It's been that way my entire life. And, before I understood what was going on, which was the majority of my life, and it was diagnosed with all type of things, tried all type of things, some very detrimental, some that helped but didn't resolve. And it was because ultimately I didn't understand what was happening. I had the perspective that what was going on was incorrect, when that's not the case. My body was doing what it's designed to do, and I was beating it up because of it, which is, I feel bad about that. So, spiritual significance of the stomach focuses on digestion, processing, and assimilation of emotions, experiences, and power. It is commonly considered the seat of intuition. In other words, gut feelings, and the center of personal power and self-confidence, otherwise known as the solar plexus chakra. This is the chakra where we receive the sun most powerfully. Everyone receives solar forces in their solar chakra. Okay? Solar plexus chakra. Yeah, that is the solar chakra, actually. Because the one above the head is the soul star, which connects you directly to the higher realms, to your soul. Soul star. Okay. Stomach discomfort often symbolizes difficulty digesting a life situation, unexpressed anger, or fear. I know that one well. Emotional processing. The stomach breaks down experiences just as it breaks down food. Inability to stomach a situation often causes issues. Yeah. So many people are diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome that in actuality have something else going on that is just manifesting physically as diarrhea. Personal power and ego associated with the Manipura, or the solar plexus chakra. It represents self-worth, identity, and willpower. Intuition and instinct. The quote gut brain represents pre-verbal and instinctual knowledge, as in you receive the message beforehand to be acted on. It is an internal response before something takes place. We've all experienced the gut instinct. There's a reason for that. And the stomach speaks directly to the brain on a physical level. It guides your thoughts. So if something is happening in your stomach, your mind is going to be skewed towards a solution of the stomach. That could be good. That could be not so good. It depends on the situation. Nourishment and reception represents how well we accept or digest life's experiences and nurturing. There's a saying that I'm being reminded of when people are describing an interaction with another person, and they make the statement, "It makes me sick to my stomach." 111. There's a reason for that. Common spiritual interpretations of stomach issues. Again, common spiritual interpretations of stomach issues. Upset stomach and pain indicates difficulty accepting, processing, or digesting a life event or a need for better emotional boundaries. Heartburn or acid reflux, often linked to unexpressed anger, aggression, or a feeling that someone is controlling your life. Subservient, forced. Slavery. There is a point at which every slave has an uprising, and that power comes from the stomach. They can't stomach it any longer. It may also indicate too much fire in the solar plexus regarding a situation. Fire in the belly. The light just got brighter. I don't know if you saw that. Bloating and gas can symbolize feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, or taking on more than one can handle. Quote, biting off more than you can chew. Constipation relates to holding onto old, limiting beliefs, fear, or a resistance to letting go of the past. Also, when it comes to constipation, we receive, like I said, we receive the sun there. We're receiving the solar forces right now that are really strong. And they can require so much effort to take in and break down that everything else stops. It stops digestion of physical food. And people, a lot of people have been having issues with this. And it is related to the solar forces just being so intense that they require all the effort, really. Rebalancing the energy. Meditation, focused breathing into the belly to calm the nervous system. Grounding, practices that help regain self-confidence and personal power. Letting go, actively working to digest or transmute and release old emotions or experiences. Biblically, The stomach, as referred to in the Bible, is often associated with the physical needs and desires of the human body. It serves as a symbol of, quote, appetite. And lastly, the stomach is associated with the element of earth, which surprises me because it is a solar chakra. You would think it would be fire, but it's not. It's earth. The liver is wood. The kidneys are water. The organ associated with fire is the heart. Passion of Christ exists in the heart. Holy fire. I have full chills. And that is all for today. Thank you for staying. This was a long one. It was quite a day today. Cosmically, we had some significant movement, things moving into place. We can expect powerful shifts within our 3D reality, within the collective. And the darkness is lurking. However, darkness operates from a place of fear and anonymity, secret. Once it is illuminated, revealed, it loses its power. If you are not in fear of it, it loses its power over you. If you are aligned with God, fire in your heart, Christ, you may stand out like a sore thumb, a light in the darkness, and feel like you are facing attack from all sides. But understand, you are the strong tower. The darkness cannot overtake you unless you agree from fear. Stand in your faith. Reaffirm yourself as a child of God. Speak what you are experiencing. Do not identify it, but speak it, or identify as it, saying like, I am afraid. No, you are feeling fear. You are a child of God. You call that presence in. And if you are in a place where you can receive guidance, You will receive guidance on what to do. And if the only thing that you can do is give it to God and surrender, then do that. If you are in a position to act to defend another, do that. I wasn't going to do a video today. It took me all day to get myself together. I just had a lot going on today, and I felt very overwhelmed. But I wanted to do a video because I will not be silenced. I will not be removed from this path, because in this time, we need more God, not less. This job is very important. We need more, not less. And the darkness, they see me clearly, but they will not win. I will not be in fear. I will stand firm in God, in His power, and I will continue. That's that Aries moon. I feel it. Warrior. That's a weird noise. I don't know what that was. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap it up. Sending you all of my love. And I will talk to you soon.